leaders of major military states are dominated by this thin, unsubstantiated set of notions, such as the best defense is a good offense, and that piling up military assets and projecting military force through actual use, lawful or unlawful, it's always unlawful, it's a first use for these demonstration purposes, will somehow deter threats and attacks on the state acting preemptively. The results of realism in this set of ideas is clear. We have war everywhere, war dragging on for decades, lost wars, failed wars. We have plenty of evidence. We have plenty of civilian casualties. We have the absence of true security based in peace. So finally, we can counter this ideology of realism. We can go back to the ideology we had prior to realism. It's not that old a set of ideas. It's not that sophisticated a set of ideas. In the meantime, we need technologists to build the AI that offers true defense. We need more iron domes, and we do not need lavenders. A treaty can be the critical tool to teach technologists about what law and ethics really require of them. Amelia told us they're interested in this. They don't want to be on the wrong side of law and ethics, and a treaty can be a tool of education, a common treaty drafted by all of us. And my great hope is that that treaty will teach more than technologists. It will also teach the leaders of major military states.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, Marilyn. Yes, as you mentioned, we have a golden opportunity, but also a platinum obligation. Thank you. I turn over to my friend Alex. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks also from my side to the panelists for the first round. We now wanted to deepen this a bit, go a bit further into some of those issues and discuss why action is necessary, and especially, of course, what could be done and what should be done. I want to pick up the dehumanization point, and I think Kenneth made, a valid point. There's lots that we don't really know yet, so it's a little bit projecting into the future. So we heard about the risk of dehumanization in armed conflict, but I wanted to ask, Emilia, you touched upon a few of these aspects, but if you could go a little bit further on how the risk of autonomous weapon systems may foster dehumanization, and that the erosion of human control and moral engagement in conflict and non-conflict violence, what that could look like. So you touched upon it, but if you could go a little bit more, and especially, of course, what could be done to address it. Emilia, please.
Thank you. I think you put it beautifully, Patricia, in Weapons Without Mercy. I think that framing is one that's really powerful, because by removing sort of the human morality and human decision-making from the decision to take a life, we remove the humanity from that entire landscape. And so the dehumanizing consequences of that are immense, not only in the individual interaction of targeting someone, but also at the scale at which dehumanized killing can be done. So the essential property of AI is an ability to do a task at scale. And so when we think about these idea of small anti-personnel weapon systems that can be mass-produced, what you end up with is a ratio where a single human operator, whether that be someone in the military, whether that be a non-state actor, whether that be someone on border patrol, could activate an unlimited number of weapon systems. And so this is why we need really clear prohibitions, specifically on the anti-personnel point, because you're talking about seeding in the world an ability to do dehumanized killing at scale. And to your point on a treaty, When it comes to mass-produced weapons that are stockpiled, like small anti-personnel systems, this is exactly the kind of thing a treaty can be highly effective at preventing. And so something we hear a lot is like, oh, a treaty wouldn't work with an individual actor in their basement. That's not the scale of the problem here. The scale is mass production and stockpiling, and that's something that we have ample legal and historical precedent that treaties can be highly effective at doing.
Thanks a lot. I wanted to check if anybody from the panel wanted to react very briefly, maybe a sentence or two. If we're running behind, so I'm not insisting on that. Oh, Patricia, please.
I mean, so one of the things that intrigues me is where we put our energies, right? And where we're putting our energies at the moment in AI and control issues is in autonomous cars, right? And the issue of control and the legality of those. And we're really worried about the few people that a rogue autonomous car will kill. And yet, you know, this debate over autonomous weapons is not in the public domain, right, as much as it should be. It's obviously in governmental domain, and everyone here, thank you, is taking it very seriously. But we're putting, this is what humans do, right? We focus on an individual, and we don't think about the masses of individuals that we're killing. So
Thanks.
it's just a reflection, really.
Yeah. Thanks. I wanted to pick up Mary Ellen's point on the golden opportunity about norm setting future treaty. And of course, this is one action or set of actions that we could do to address this issue. And I hope the momentum is building that we will. But I wanted to ask you specifically if you think that the human role, that the protection of the human role in the use of autonomous weapons is a key part or the key part of ensuring rights-based, ethical and responsible AI and autonomous weapons specifically. And if that's the case, how should we do this in the context of using this golden opportunity?
Right. In the context of using a treaty, I want to say two things about the role of human beings in connection with autonomous weapons. First, we have to remember that there are humans in the design phase, and their involvement, their understanding, we really have to get over this vast ignorance that has been perpetrated since the end of the Cold War, this dumbing down of law so that people who once knew what the UN Charter held, what it really meant, it meant the words that are on the page, now are befuddled because they hear these long, strange arguments and see the results of killing that governments say is perfectly lawful. That is a huge effort of global education to come back to authentic law, respect for human rights that can only happen in peace. So designers, trainers, everyone involved with autonomous weapons have to be informed about what this ancient law built on fundamental moral norms and ethics really says. Then we've heard from several of the speakers in the last day and a half what the content of a treaty should be in terms of keeping a human conscience always vis-a-vis a person whose life is being taken in the one context in which it is lawful, the intentional killing in legally defined armed conflict hostilities. I recall that Cordelia Droga said that we should have two principles in this treaty, that a machine does not kill a human being. We do not turn the use of military force on the battlefield into the slaughter of animals in the slaughterhouse through mechanization without a human conscience. She also said that whatever mechanism is being used to carry out armed conflict killing, the results must be predictable. There must be the mechanism itself and what it is doing must be overseeable, and I would add, subject to cancellation. I've long thought that the campaign to stop killer robots and Noel Sharkey's particular list of what it means to have meaningful human control is the right definition that should be in this treaty.
Thanks a lot. Again, hot pursuit from anyone on this?